Okay, first official video on our channel. I wanted to use this time to sort of let you know and explain my journey so far. It just in terms of more of like the practical parts of it, because I do really want to get into like the personal growth parts of it, because it's been a huge personal growth type of experience, and I'm still going through it, and I'm still learning and growing and changing and grieving and celebrating and like everything. But a little bit about my experience. So my first, let's see, I'll start about a year ago when I made this decision officially. I was engaged in a relationship. That engagement ended about 2.5 years ago now. And when that engagement ended, one of the gifts that brought me was that I finally like lost the like feeling that I needed a partner to be happy, because I was not happy in that relationship in a lot of ways. And I feel like it was such a gift to be like, I was celebrating being on my own. I was celebrating only being responsible for myself. I was celebrating like my independence, which I didn't do for my entire 20s, because I dated a lot. I did not have very long relationships. I had 2 3-month relationships that were very important to me when I turned 30. But before then, like, it just didn't work out, and we can get into that and stuff like that. And I've done a lot of thinking, and I did a lot of personal work and all that kind of stuff. And when I turned 30, I finally admitted to myself, I was like, you know what? I'm going to meet my soulmate or a soulmate. I'm just going to decide that, but I just don't know when it's going to happen. And so that actually gave me a lot of freedom, and that I think resulted in me meeting a boyfriend that I dated for 3 months, who like is still someone who I think very highly of. I dated a girl that I was like very in love with. Almost. It was only 3 months, but whatever. And then after that, I decided to stop dating men. If I do date men, it will be an accident. I'm still bisexual or pansexual, but my experience with that, I was like, I want to date women. So that's kind of what I did. And then I met my then fiance, then I think like a year or two later. We were together for just under 2 years. We wanted kids so badly, like so badly, both of us did. And that was one of the biggest parts of our relationship, I think. And yeah. And so when that ended, I was finally like, okay, my body gets now that like, no relationship is better than one that isn't good for you or like doesn't serve you, which it's often like, that, like I knew that, but I like didn't feel it, because I was like, God, why can't I just like meet someone that I'm happy with and they're happy with me and it's mutual and all this, and it just didn't happen. So when that was over, I went through some grieving periods and stuff. Obviously, it was really hard. And I don't remember. I remember where I was. I was sitting on my bed and I was journaling. And I don't know what it was, but I think I finally just started crying and like really fully just sat there and like grieved, like, holy shit, like I am not going to meet someone and have a kid, like most likely. Because I kind of had given up. I was like, I'm not intentionally dating right now. I don't feel like dating right now. All this kind of stuff. And so I really grieved, and I journaled about that, and just like that gave me permission to say yes. And what I realized, because like I said, I've always thought about being a single mom by choice, not because I didn't want a partner, but just because I care most about being a mom. And so yeah, so I think in that like grieving, and like I fully allowed it, right? I allowed myself to feel kind of like a victim, like be like why me? Like I know I'm a good person, I know I'm fun, my friends love me, like I just didn't understand, like I just don't understand why. And also, yeah, just like got all of the grief out. And the other massive, massive, massive part of it And now that I'm thinking about it, I think this might have actually happened and that caused me to sort of unleash the grief, which was I realized that I was only not choosing to move forward with like being a mom because I was petrified, because I was like so scared. And when I realized I was making a decision, well, I wasn't making a decision, but I was making a lack of a decision, out of fear, I was like, oh, what if I allowed myself to like believe that this was possible and that this could happen and that I could do this? And when I did that, I think, yeah, now that I'm remembering, if I'm remembering right, like I think that's what unleashed the grief. I was like, that was like, oh fuck, like I'm really doing this, like holy cow. And yeah, that was just really, really big for me. I am a very spiritual person, and like I don't ever want to make a decision out of fear. I want to make a decision out of a place of love. I'm also incredibly practical, so that could be hard sometimes. But yeah, so that's sort of how I made the decision. And once I made the decision, I think I went and just started researching. Like, I don't even remember, but I'm pretty sure I like Googled like single mom, like, or something like that, I don't know. And I Googled it, and then very shortly upon Googling it, I found that there's literally a community, like a massive community of women who have done this, and even more that are considering it. Well, I don't know the numbers, but you know what I mean? Like there's a ton of people considering it, and there's a ton of people that like have done it. And I had been led to believe up until that point, because I had always mentioned to like friends and family, like, oh yeah, like if I don't meet anybody, because I was like the perpetually single one, it's like if I don't meet anybody, like I'm gonna like have a baby on my own. And like very not encouraging responses from people. I know that they have my best interest at heart. I'm not saying that like anything like that at all. It's just, it was very not like, oh my God, how cool. Yeah, you can absolutely do that. And so I need to make notes on this because my ADHD just were everywhere, and I even took my medicine today. Ooh. What was I saying? I don't even know. Oh, the community. Ha. Okay. So yeah. So I look into this community, and I'm like, I literally like it. Did I cry? Maybe, I don't know. But I was just like dumbfounded. And then like classic myself, which is what I do, is like I go really hard into the one thing. So I like obsessively like scoured these sites, and like I'm reading every single comment, I'm commenting, I'm asking questions, all this stuff, to be specific, so people can find resources. It was on Facebook that I had found most of them on Facebook. There's like multiple single mom by choice groups on Facebook. There's some major ones, and then there was one that was like the Colorado chapter. Oh shit, I'm not supposed to say where I live. Oh well. So so yeah, so there's the Colorado chapter. I joined that, and let's see, so it was probably around March. Yeah, I was just obsessively reading everything, and to be honest, I was like equally inspired, and equally it was making me more petrified, because as the internet works, we go there when we're at our lowest. Oftentimes we're not normally like, hey, I just had like a really breezy good day, I'm gonna go post about that. Some people do that, but most comments are like in the thick of the hardness. So I would see comments from moms who like literally were like going through postpartum depression and hadn't been diagnosed yet, or different things like that. So it was both equally like really helpful and really scary. And gosh, I feel like I could talk forever about that part of it. Let me stop and then I'll do a totally different video on just the like both positive and negative, and how I got from a place of like being literally so petrified, and I will get into all of those fears, to the fact that like where I'm at now, which is like I am fully confident I can do this. I am so excited. Like I know this is the right choice for me. Like I can handle criticism now where I cannot at all before. So let me do a different video on that. But for this, in terms of like where I'm at, what I've done so far, so I kind of went through that process. And so this is another long story, but it's not part of my solo mom by choice journey too much, so I won't get into it. When I had experience with IVF by the time I went to go start it. I knew that I wanted to freeze embryos as soon as I possibly could, because that I wanted to just, I know that follow people's hearts. I don't want to add any like time related fear to anyone's brains, but like the way my brain was working is like, of course, as early as possible, I want to, like when I'm as young as possible, right? I want to like go and freeze embryos. So I had done that before, actually. When I was in my previous relationship, I had a benefit called Carrot, which is similar to Progeny or Maven, if you're familiar with them. It's a fertility benefit through my work at the time, and I was leaving my work to go be a teacher. And through this benefit of Carrot, I got $20,000 towards any type of family building. So, Carrot, if you're listening, I want to work for you. Not really, I like my job now, but anyways, like dream job. Carrot was amazing. And so I got logged in, of course, my, here, where is this? Oh, there it is. My alarm's going off. I don't know why. Oh, to teach me how time goes by, because I have ADHD. Anyways, okay, so I had Carrot, I had $20,000, and I was like, because I had decided to be exclusively with women for the most part, I was like, well, this is how my kids are going to be made no matter what, so like, let's just go do it. And there's a lot more to the story, because I was obviously in a relationship at the time. So my partner and I at the time went through IVF. We did one round of, I always forget if IVF, like, if it includes your egg retrieval and your transfer. In my mind it does, but I actually think it actually just means your egg retrieval. I don't know. But anyway, so at that time, that was like 3 years ago now, I think. 3 or 4 years ago now. Yeah, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago now. So I was 32. Was I 32? I think I was 33. I don't know, whatever I was 32. So, I wanted to use that money. I wanted to do it. And I was like, well, I hope I end up with this person. Like, I want to end up with this person, and we both want kids together. So like, what can go wrong? So, we went through the IVF process. So I was so lucky that I went through it with somebody. And at the time it was like a very, very, very beautiful, romantic, loving experience. That's another video I will do on the queer perspective of IVF. Can't speak for all sapphic women by any means, but very different than like the journey where you end up doing IVF because you've experienced infertility. So I can't really speak to that part, but for us, this was how babies were made. This is how our babies were going to be made, right? So we went through that. I actually ended up with 4 normal embryos. I just checked on my results. I had 12 eggs retrieved. I had 8 of them fertilized. 4 became blastocysts, and all 4 of those tested genetically normal. So they were all euploids. So I do have those frozen. I'm not using those. I don't know if I'm going to be sharing that in public, like, why not? But I'm saving them just in case they're my literal only chance of, like, carrying my own child. But there's multiple reasons why that's just not a good idea, because I did it with a previous partner. Sperm donor was matched to, like, her, and I wanted to start fresh. So that was kind of my idea. I, like, looked into it. So then I scheduled. So now that was at the time. Now we're moving forward to last summer when I was like, I know I want to be a mom. I know this is going to be my journey. This is getting really long, sorry. And so I went to my same clinic because I was familiar with them, but I wanted it to be kind of like a new experience and experience everything on my own. Like, this is my family. I want to do my family on my own terms and all that. And so what I did was I actually just chose a different doctor at the same clinic who was at a different location. So I tried to like separate it in that way. So I went to meet my doctor, who I'm literally obsessed with. I love her so much. I went and I chose Conception's Reproductive Associates of Colorado at the time. And I might have to cut that out because I don't know if I'm supposed to like paying attention to privacy. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so I went to the doctor. We had like our initial consult. We looked at what we had. She did highly, highly, highly suggest that I do not use the existing embryos. Again, don't feel like getting into that and maybe not helpful. And she was like, if you do want to, like, here's an attorney to contact. So I called the attorney. Her name was also Rachel. So I called Rachel and had a convo with Rachel, and kind of she like laid out like basically the legal process. It wasn't super complicated, but it does require me getting a contact with my previous partner, which like is not a choice I want to make right now. And like also you have to pay for her, you know, the attorney, and then like all this kind of stuff. So that was a helpful conversation, and she did that consult for free, which was really amazing. So that was helpful. So then we're like, cool, okay, we're starting over. I'm gonna do another egg retrieval. I was lucky that I'd experienced everything before. It wasn't the first time I was experiencing everything, but I was doing it by myself. So again, I'm sticking to more of the facts, and I'll do more of like how I was feeling later in another video. But essentially, yeah, so I got all my testing done, like again, right, because it'd been a few years, and I had to do my insurance was requiring an ACE, I think it's an SHSG. There's like 2 different kinds. I had to do the more painful one. I let the internet scare me. It was not that bad. It wasn't great. I can do another video on that. My friend went with me. And yeah, it was fine. Everything came back great. Everything came back normal. Like everything was pointing to like, good, you're still good to go. You're still healthy. You're still like fertile and all this kind of stuff. So now we were wanting to do an egg retrieval, and because I'm already talking for 17 minutes now, I'm not going to get into that. But essentially, I went back and forth with my insurance and my clinic for months, and I spent hours and hours and hours and hours of my time documenting things, writing pages and pages of notes in my computer, like everything. And in the end, no one could tell me whether or not I was covered for IVF or not. It was like half the people would say, yeah, absolutely, it's 100% covered. And then other people would be like, no, it's not. And my clinic was like, we've done this all the time, and like, we're telling you it's not going to be covered. So I finally just kind of stopped trying to knock down the doors, because I was like, you know what? This is affecting my mental health. Like I cannot take this like uncertainty, and this like one person says one thing, another person says something, no one can give me an answer. And I just decided, you know what? If I did decide to do an egg retrieval, that would be being paid out of pocket. And I was like, let's just like pause. So what we did is I talked to my doctor, and she was like, I think we can get you pregnant when you're ready to have a baby, which I was still saying I'm not ready to have like get pregnant for another like 1 to 3 years. Because I just like my life wasn't ready. I'm not set up for it right now. Or at the time. And so she was like, okay, I know this sucks. So it was a few different appointments and different stuff. And when I finally did understand that they weren't going to cover it, like it was pretty devastating for me. And it was pretty sad, because I did not want to do IUI. Like I was set against IUI because it has such a high chance, it has such a low chance of success. And it has like pretty high chance of like miscarriage, the same as like getting regularly pregnant. And I just like didn't want to put myself through that if I could choose not to, you know. And then plus, as a single mom, or as planning to be a single mom, I hope this isn't like ableist or anything like that. It probably is a little bit, so I'm really sorry, but like I just don't want to run the risk of having like a highly, highly, highly disabled child that requires a lot of like money and extra work to care for. Like if that happens to me, I'll love them and take care of them, and I'm not like, that's okay. But like if I could help it, I'd rather have like the genetic testing that's done, because again, I'm doing this as like a single person, and I just don't think that's fair to me or a child to like just do something that's like higher risk of that. So with all of that, I wanted to do IVF so I could do genetic testing and hopefully have a shorter, like less invasive, because IUI works for so many people. And I'm pretty sure even more people, though, go through lots of failed IUIs and then they have to do IVF. And like, I was like, can I just cut out that process? So that was my like kind of take. But then when I figured out that insurance was not going to cover IVF until I had 3 failed IUIs, that we knew for sure. I was like, we were like, okay, I guess we're just going to do IUI. And then I came around to it and I thought of all the positives, like not going through that with my body and all that kind of stuff, because IUI is obviously like way less invasive and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I guess we just have to wait. And that was very hard because it's like, I knew my life wasn't ready for a baby, but like I wanted to feel like I was taking steps towards it, because my heart's been ready for a baby since I was like 19 years old. And I mean, no, since I was like 10 years old, I've just always wanted to be a mom. But yeah, so that happened. And then I just lucked out and my employer changed our insurance. So this was like last summer and our insurance changed starting this year in 2026. So with this new insurance, I was actually covered for IVF, which is awesome. Now we'll get into the cost and stuff. It still costs $15,000 out of pocket. I luckily had another fertility benefit with this company called Maven, which gave me $10,000. So luckily it was only $5,000 out of pocket. I don't know if I could have done it the other way. All that to say, went through another egg retrieval just about a month ago. And it was, yeah, maybe I'll do a whole post on that one. So went through an egg retrieval and now I have 2 embryos. I do know the gender, but I will not say. And I do have a 3rd embryo. That's another story. It tested as no result for PGTA testing. So I still have it. It's still frozen, and it's my essentially little embryo that could / little mystery embryo, because it's being counted right now as a not tested. We don't know if it's genetically normal. And so, yeah, it's like a maybe. So that's what's happened up until this point. I just got those final results for embryo number 3 yesterday after I talked to my doctor. And so that's my process up until now. That's where I'm at. There's a lot more to get into. Part of me thinks I should just do a podcast so I can talk for longer. But yeah, so that's kind of like, I'll call that part 1 of where I'm at, because there's a whole part 2, which is like, what am I doing moving forward? What have I been deciding? All that. You see, it gives me inspiration. It's be incredible. Okay, anyways, yeah, so that's where I'm at. There's so many more important parts. These are just the logistical parts, but I wanted to share. Yeah, so that's, I guess, part 1 of where I'm at.